patterns. Even the vocal doo-wop style incorporated Latin tinges. The Black songwriter Maurice Williams and his hit Little Darling, okay, is an example, 1957, which features the clave rhythm. The clave rhythm is tung, 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 or tung, 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 tung. That's the clave rhythm, and you hear that in Little Darling, okay? Now,
I want to make sure you understand just how important they are. Claves are very old. They likely originated in Africa and were brought to the Americas via the transatlantic slave trade.
Bell pattern. A bell pattern is a rhythmic pattern of striking a handheld bell or other instrument of the idiophone family to make it emit a sound at desired intervals. It is often a key pattern, also known as a guide pattern, phrasing referent, timeline, or asymmetrical timeline. In most cases, it is a metal bell, such as an agogo, gankoki, or cowbell, or a hollowed piece of wood, or wooden claves. In band music, bell patterns are also played on the metal shell of the timbales and drum kit cymbals.
It took about 10 years to complete this book. I was looking through a anthropology book about Africa, and in the music section I noticed a little footnote that the author had made about this person who was playing a bottle, tapping out a certain timeline, and the author had used X's and dots to express the rhythmic pattern, and I thought that that was just genius. So I started to write down all the clave patterns and rhythmic patterns that I knew and that I was discovering. During this period, I was touring a lot with Medeski, Martin & Wood, touring around in a camper around the United States mostly. So I had lots of downtime where I could create some kind of graphic format and make Xerox copies and start to shape what I thought could be a book. All of the rhythms in this book have their roots in West and Central Africa in general. The connections that I make are with other African cultures in the Americas. South America, the Caribbean, North America in general, Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, New Orleans, and all of the myriad of styles that have come our way. All of these African American rhythms and dance styles were born out of these claves and these patterns. So in my own personal way, I combined family of claves in 6, in 8, in 4, and some odd time stuff as well. And that's how the book is broken up. Each chapter is really its own world, and you can start at the beginning of any of those chapters as it progresses and gets more complex. This is a single line clave in 6. The X is a sound and the dot is a space. Now we add the second rhythm at the bottom here. This is the bass drum, or leading foot. Now we add a third rhythm. This is the accompanying foot, or hi-hat pedal. Okay, this is the final and fourth part, your accompanying hand, high and low sounds. This book is for anybody who really wants to get deeper into the sophisticated sort of combinations and counterparts that exist in African musical language.
Oh, I get it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you probably get the fact that we have 3 beats or 3 attacks and 2 attacks. And you probably by now have figured out that it's like a mathematical equation. And any mathematical equation can be reversed. So instead of 3 plus 2, we could have 2 plus 3. But let me get back to where this rhythm specifically comes from. We have many bell rhythms that come from Western Central Africa. And to give you a reference point of how the clave works not only in binary time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, but also tertiary time, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, which is one of the things that we inherited from Western Central Africa. The concept of many meters and many rhythms happening at the same time. I'll tap this.
Very simple.
And was that rhythm there? The pa, pa,
Yeah.
did it come in at that time?
No,
Not yet.
No, the rhythm they were using was ka, 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 ka.
Okay, so let me do that.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get it. very simple, and then they would have songs to accompany them.
all right.
There was another one called Dagomba,
Okay.
which is a shortened version of the word Dagomba Waya Tengabu, which was a popular cruise song, which was about the Dagomba ship, not the Dagomba tribe of Ghana, but the Dagomba ship,
Okay.
wiring wire to telegraph Mr. Tengabu.
Okay.
So it became a pop, and so this had a certain guitar riff, which also came
Also
in.
the same rhythm. Pa, pa,
Yes,
pa, pa.
but
Okay.
let me actually just play this one because my hands are a bit stiff. But if you're a guitarist, you will know this style, though most Ghanaians have forgotten its origin. Yep. I've forgotten it.
I think I know it.
And if you hear, but then the Ghanaians used this technique to develop their own styles, and one of them was Yamponsa,
Okay.
and this is where the triple offbeat comes in, ka, 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 ka. And so that's because that seems to be an indigenous Ghanaian rhythm. It's not found in Nigeria.
It's not?
No. Well, it is now because of
Okay,
highlights.
yes.
But no, that triple offbeat seems. I mean, it's related to Akam forms of music like Sitchi, or the forerunners of Sitchi music. They use that sort of triple offbeat played on the bell. So instead of using the ka 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 ka, which is a sort of a universal black transatlantic rhythm, it's found in West Africa, in the Caribbean, it's found in Brazil, it's found in New Orleans. It's a sort of a universal African. It's found in New Orleans. It's a sort of a universal African rhythm, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
This is what the youth now call Jama, and it's the basis, by the way, of Afrobeats. That's why Afrobeats is doing so well, because one of the major rhythms of Afrobeats, modern Afrobeats, is the ba 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 ba.
And it's found in Brazil, it's found in Cuba, it's found in
New
Angola,
Orleans.
New Orleans.
Yes, it's already had the foundation laid rhythmically.
So it's already Pan-African.
It's already, in fact, it's a black transatlantic.
Black transatlantic.
Yeah, rhythm, and
Okay.
we don't know when it started, but we could probably say that it's a transmutation of a universal African rhythm. Actually, there is one African rhythm which goes. Okay, let's say we take the one that we're talking about, Jama.
Yes.
Okay, ba 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 ba. Okay, but that's a modification of this rhythm.
Ah, the 12/8 thing.
Yeah.
Adowa and Kete
Yeah.
and Agbaja.
And this is found in practically 80% of African countries in different modified forms, whether Agbaja, Adowa, or whatever, or Konkon
Yes.
in Nigeria. And that what seems to have happened is when the slaves. But it wasn't just because the drum could talk. That was deadly enough, messages between slaves, rebellion. It was that the types of rhythms used in Africa for religious or ritual or ancestor worship were the 6/8 rhythms. So they wanted to ban the six. Well, they did. They banned the 6/8 rhythms.
The 6/8
as
is
well.
a pa 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 pa.
Yeah,
pa, pa.
or,
Okay.
or 12/8
Or
if
12/8.
you want to call it 12/8.
Okay,
Yeah.
alright.
So what happened is that they banned both the 12/8 rhythms and the talking drums. So what the African Americans did in different countries, in North and South America and even the Caribbean, is they took a safe European 4/4 tempo and put the rhythm inside it. They compressed, they squashed the rhythm. So the ga 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 is basically in 6/8 time. It would be it's still
Yes.
1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2. But if you played it like that, you're
Cut
dead.
your head off.
But if you played it in safe European time, it was accepted.
Yes.
But it was still actually a partly African rhythm because it's full of syncopations, but it's not polyrhythmic. So this is why this rhythm is found all over the place, I think,
So
this
the 333, that was the black.
It is functioning. It is a functioning art form in Africa today. It's used as a communications device. Now, we have in the studio Mr. Cass Bonsier, who is an Ashanti from Ghana, and he has a talking drum. We'll ask him to say to you, hello and welcome to the program. Cass? You see? Now you're welcome. He's really said to you, Akwaba, which is in Ashanti and the Akan languages, welcome. I speak Fanti, but I don't really know how to say to a TV program, so he's had to say that to you. In the African music is functioning not only as an entertainment piece, but also to instruct. It is an educational force. The first thing Mr. Cass Bonsier and his drum quartet is going to play is a high life dance that's supposed to be very entertaining, but there's some instruction in it too. Now, if you get up in your house and dance, you'll understand. That's the high life. Now, if you saw the first program in this series, you saw that the high life has a corollary in the United States. It's called the hunch here. Well, when you go to West Africa, you will dance to that very beat. The next drum number, song, in fact, is the Agbaja. You can try to say that now with me. Agbaja. It's an Ewe dance, and Mr. Cass Bonsier is going to play it. It's a dance of of great joy and virility, a little arrogant too, I'm afraid. It's very beautiful. Mr. Casbonsier and Agbaja.
Let me just listen to my block.
Oh yeah!
The clave is a rhythmic concept that takes various forms, but the most basic expression of it is a 2-bar rhythm that you've heard all your life. 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. When you hear that rhythm in North American music, it tends to be used as a beat as in bow diddley, ham bone, hand jive, and so forth. In Cuba, that rhythm is played by the 2 hardwood sticks known as claves, but they don't have to be playing for the clave to be in effect, because in Cuban music, clave is not a beat. It's a rhythmic key, the rhythmic equivalent of being in the key of C. Just as you don't have to be holding down a C major triad all the time to play in the key of C, you don't have to be clicking out the basic clave rhythm on a pair of sticks to be playing in clave.
One African beat proved particularly compelling. A simple pattern now known as the clave. The clave is probably our oldest connection with the history of our instrument.
The clave has been around for years. Everybody in the beginning, for years, call it Bo Diddley. Bo Diddley came 50 years after the march, New Orleans. Everybody gets happy because you're lifting everybody up. And I mean that literally, lifting everybody up off their feet. They're dancing. And that's what we're all about. Drums is about making people dance.
It's pretty much agreed that the original clave came from Africa. Its introduction via the slave trade to Western music. But essentially, it's just a rhythm that is repeated, and other percussion or other musicians make music around that repeated pattern.
You know, and I'm so glad you brought that up, Bobby, because you know when we talk about this Latin music coming from Latin America to the United States and merging with jazz, we have to keep in mind that before it came from Latin America, it all came from Africa.
That's right. The rhythms that we dance to, etc., if it moves you and grooves you, is from West Africa. And I'm not talking about just Afro-Cuban music, but we're talking about samba from Brazil. Okay? Joropo from Venezuela. Anda pues, camina solito. Etc., etc. All of these things. Merengue from the Dominican Republic. Ay papi, ay papi, ay papi, ay mami, ay papi. ¿Qué es lo que quiere el negro? ¿Qué es lo que quiere el negro? La mulata. And etc., etc. Bomba en plena from Puerto Rico. For example, bomba sica, one of the common rhythms that we use from the bomba complex in Puerto Rico. Etc., etc. It goes on and on and on and on. Funk. Reggaeton. Dame gasolina, gasolina, gasolina. Dale gasolina, gasolina, gasolina. Dale gasolina. It's all rooted in West African rhythm, you know.
But there's a distinct beat that is different in all of them from what we notice now.
Right, everything has its own style, etc., you know, but the common bond that holds everything together is la clave. For example,